Hi Leo, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. And Leo, this is going to be your August 2024 reading. It's a general reading. And before I get started, I just want to say that I have been talking about getting some personal readings out and putting that offer to you. And I will be putting out a video. It's coming out soon-ish. Sometimes these things take time. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. And so let's get started. In today's reading, we are going to be doing an awesome reading today, and it is going to be a reading on mirror work. So what is mirror work? Well, let me just tell you that mirror work is probably one of the best things that you can use to start to heal yourself, to start to find out what is coming up from your shadow to heal. And if you're new to shadow work, I'm going to leave a video for you. I'm going to link it right at the end of this video. And it's a video that I've done for my other channel called Carol Cares. And it's a video on shadow work. And it's also linked in the description box as well. So, yeah, it's going to tell you all about how to do shadow work. And shadow work is just basically healing what's coming up from your unconscious. So mirror work is about the whole concept about the universe is trying to reflect something to you that is connected to your inner world, to the unconscious. Now, I know that's a bit heavy, but I want you to understand it as when we start watching our outer world, like people that are in our life, like what's happening in our world to us, or even what's happening in the world itself, what's going on with our pets, what's going on in our own systems, health-wise maybe, or children. Children have an incredible way of triggering us. They always will be a mirror for us that are reflecting something back to us that we need to see, especially when, we sit here and go, they're driving me crazy, they're pissing me off, they're making me angry. That is mirror work. That is what the universe is reflecting back to you. That's related to a pattern or a belief system or a struggle or whatever it is that needs to heal. Now, let me give you an example. I am a retired teacher, and so I think it's really important to give you an example, a concrete example of mirror work. So I saw mirror work yesterday in action, and to me, I said to myself, I was trying to figure out why this was happening to me, because that's what mirror work is. And I knew it was because it was the story that I needed to tell you, the example. So yesterday I brought my car in for the umpteenth time to get fixed, and I now know that it's time to get rid of my car. By the way, it's just given me a lot of clues and things, memories that I'm done with part of this in my life, so it's time to get rid of this car. I know. But I was in the garage yesterday waiting in the waiting room with this woman, and there were just the two of us, and she had just finished talking to the technician. And you could tell that she was very much someone that was full of fear, full of anxiety, just the way she was walking around and talking about how she needed a cigarette. And I could just feel her anxious energy. And she started to talk to me, and she told me about her car and what it was doing. And her car, when it came to slow down and came to a stop or a light, she said she could see the whole dashboard, lights start to dimmer, and there was shaking going on, and her car would stall at the stop sign or at the lights. And this was happening all the way to her drive to bringing her car in, and it was happening all the time. And she told me there was even one incident last week where she had a police officer stop her because she was stalled in the middle of traffic, and he followed her where she was going. He followed her home. Now, this isn't, the woman's probably close to my age. I don't know. I have a hard time with the age. But she told me she was living with her parents. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why would you drive this vehicle knowing that It's going to stall all the way here. And the fear and the anxiety in her system over this car doing this to her was incredible. Now, she could have called, had a tow truck bring it in. She could have asked people she was living with to, give her a ride. But here's the thing about what's going on in this woman's outer world that she didn't realize that I knew it was going on because I've lived what she's going through. She's living a flashback, and the panic in her system. So she still thinks she's back in this flashback, and she doesn't realize that she can get out of this as an adult, but she still thinks she's back where she was a child and something was happening to her over and over and over again that was bringing up all this fear and all this anxiety, and she couldn't get out of it as a child, but she can as an adult. And so even just having that police officer saving her, and to me it just sounded like this was something from her childhood that was coming up for her to heal. And if you don't think that your car can be a mirror for you, oh my God. My car has been an incredible mirror for me to, bring back a lot of my own flashbacks of when I was trapped as a child and I couldn't get out of my situation. And so this is what, it's very critical on this journey to start to become aware of what's going on in your outer world, your conscious world, and use it as a mirror to reflect what's happening or coming up for healing in your inner world from your unconscious. It's a fascinating concept that the universe has for us. It's beautiful. But this is the way we can start using our triggers, these people around us, our relationships, what situation you're sitting in with your own relationship. How is this a flashback? How is this bringing up patterns from your childhood? And so we're going to start right now and get into this reading because I could chat forever about mirror work. It's fascinating. So for today's reading, I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite deck just to pull out my 8 cards for you. And then I'm going to be using the Tarot Grand Luxe for your outer world. Okay, which is on your right side, and I'm also going to be using that for the message from the universe that it has for you. And then on your left side, I'm going to be using the Tarot of the Abyss, and that's going to be for your inner world and also for how you're going to start to begin to heal what comes out here in your reading. So I'm going to put this on speed shuffling because it takes a while to get all the cards out, and then you'll be able to listen to just a little bit of music here, and then I'll come back on and do the reading for you. Okay, Leo, I'm ready for your reading. So we're going to start off with the overriding energy of your reading. And what I did for this was I went into your 2024 yearly reading that I did for you in January. And I pulled out the August card, which was the 6 of Cups for you in reverse. And the 6 of Cups speaks to us in a reversed, in an upright position, is the relationship that you have with your inner child. Actually, we can have more than one inner child. So it's a giving and a receiving relationship that we have where we are open to hearing them and listening to them. And we do that a lot through our journaling and grounding and getting in touch with them. But it's in reverse here for you. So I'm wondering if there's an inner child here that's blocked, that there's some inner child that's trying to, get your attention. But we'll see what comes up here. But this is about healing, about our inner child. So let's start to look at right now your outer world. So this is your conscious world. This is what you are aware of. You're living it right now. And so what's going on with you right now? What's the situation that is actually going to be a mirror reflecting back to you what's happening with your inner world that it's coming up for healing. So in your outer world, you start off with the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is the kings, first of all, in my deck. And I believe there's another king that came up, yes, over here somewhere. The kings are our ego self. It's our masculine part of us. We have a masculine and a feminine part. We all have it. Nothing to do with gender. But our ego self here is out. So It's in reverse because that means it's very ungrounded. So I'm going to say that you're very much living in your head. This is a King of Wands. So the Wands will often talk about our purpose, a creative purpose, taking our life in a certain direction. And the King of Wands wouldn't want you to do that because our ego self is a part of us that is very much in control and likes to keep things kind of don't rock the boat, right? Go with what society says, just kind of, lie low. It doesn't like to take risks. It's a very fearful part. And so that's what's out right now for you, because right behind you have the Nine of Swords. Now, I did say that your ego self is keeping you up in your head, and I didn't even see the Nine of Swords there, and that's exactly what the Nine of Swords is about. So much so that you can be, up in your head, lying awake at night, but you're pretty much spinning over these mental thoughts in your head that won't go away. And that's what swords are. Swords are very much our mental thoughts that we tell ourselves, our belief systems. So doing a lot of spinning up in your head about something. Then you have the wheel here, the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is the wheel of life. Like it's meant to be turning here, but it's not right now for you. So I'm wondering here if there needs to be, like, normally the Wheel of Fortune talks about a change of circumstance here that needs to happen, that's going to happen or has happened, but it's in reverse here. So I'm getting the impression already that there's something that needs to happen for you. Maybe you know what it is, but there's a resistance to it. Not sure right now. There's a resistance here, and that's what happens. And I think that's why you're up in your head a lot. You're doing a lot of spinning around this. Nine of Swords comes up, Nine of Wands comes up right underneath that, and so the Nine of Wands talks to me about someone that's been through a lot of battle in an upright position. Like they've just been through a lot. And so this tells me that, you've been through a lot. I don't know if it's referring to, your childhood. I don't know if it's referring to like your life as an adult, but you're tired, you're exhausted. And maybe that's why you're up at night with all these thoughts going on in your head. And, this individual's pretty exhausted here. And, it's in reverse here. So there's a real resistance to you facing your exhaustion and figuring out, and you're really, like I said, your ego's keeping you up in your head. Well, I don't want to tell you how much energy it takes to try to keep everything, repressed, where you don't want things to come up and you don't want to deal with stuff. That takes a lot of energy, a lot. I know when I'm exhausted, the first thing I'll ask myself is like, are you up in your head? Because, honestly, I'm feeling exhausted doing these readings, and I'm trying to figure out what it is, like trying to get the right amount of sleep. And I'm saying to myself, I know I have lots going on this week for me. And I have visitors coming this week. And so it's like, I know I'm kind of like up in my head with thinking about this and thinking about that. And yeah, so that's kind of a sign, if you're exhausted, that you're up in your head. You have this Ace of Coins coming up behind this exhaustion, this Nine of Wands here. And the Ace of Coins is our Ace of Pentacles. It's an offer from the universe. It's a gift. So there's an offer here coming in for you. It's the offer of a pentacle. And the pentacle is our beautiful body. It's our body. Our body. And it speaks about getting back and grounding, getting back into our body. Because that's where all our emotions are. And your ego self will have a tendency to want to keep you up in your head, because that's where we don't feel, right? We can become all kinds of distracted and all kinds of things. But if we keep up in our head, we don't have to feel. But it's a very, very exhausting place to be. Once we get back into our body, that's where we're going to feel, right? We're going to release some of that exhaustion, believe it or not. So there's an invitation here for you to get back into your body, but there's a real resistance to doing that. Maybe it's a fear. I mean, like I said, the ego self is a fearful part, very, very scared. So it'll keep you up in your head because it does not want you to go near your emotions. It hates emotions. And then you have this page of coins, a page of pentacles again. This is your inner child, and we talked about, I would have been surprised if you didn't get a page here, but here's an inner child here. Here's your page of coins. We have more than one inner child. I know mainstream psychology likes to think we just have one, but I've done quite a bit of healing for my own complex trauma and found out that I have more than one inner child that needs healing. And so this particular page, and my pages are my inner children in my deck. This page of coins knows all about what it's like to get back in their body. This page is about 4, 5, 6 years old, your inner child. And at that time, they would have known, they would have been very much in their body. And again, it's in reverse here. So you have an inner child here that needs healing. You have an inner child that needs healing and that needs to feel. Their emotions need to be felt. And the Three of Cups comes in here, and this is a beautiful card of our feminine creativity, celebrating our feminine creativity. So our feminine side, right? Our feeling side, our creative side. So just another card that's coming out for you, kind of the feminine side of us, because you started off with the King, who's the masculine side of us. And so now what's happening with you is that there's this feminine side of emotions, of getting back in your body, that's kind of creeping up here, that's reminding you that, this is what needs to be done here. And you have the Magician card, a beautiful card in reverse. And the Magician card reminds us, here to remind us, and it's a universal force, here to remind us that you have everything in you to direct you and guide you and to go where you need to go right now. You have everything at your disposal, because a lot of times our ego self will come in and it'll kick in and they'll say, emotions are stupid, don't go there. It just will kind of discourage you and keep you up in your head with all this discouraging. But this Magician card is coming out to say, you have everything in you. All the answers you need right now are in you. I know it's in reverse right now because I don't think you realize that. There's a resistance because there's, such a strong ego self influence right now that you don't realize that, you need to go inwards to get your answers. And your Nine of Cups comes in, and this guy's celebrating here. He's celebrating all his cups that he's collected. He's only collected 9. He doesn't have the whole set. The whole set is 10, but he's only collected 9, and he's already celebrating. Well, what's he celebrating? He's celebrating the end of his healing, his emotions. And I'm not feeling it anymore. I'm done. We're done here. Look at me. I'm celebrating. But you're not done, you see, because the universe is saying it's time to go back in and start to feel again. This is what the Nine of Cups talks about, right? Usually it's this individual that has his cups all lined up behind him and he's sitting here like this, quite comfortable. So maybe you've been in a position where you're just like, you know what? I'm done with my emotions. I don't want to feel. No thanks. And that's where you're sitting right now. So why don't you want to feel? You've got this inner child right here that needs healing. There's an inner child that's calling you that needs to heal. Usually means we need to get to some grief. So what is this? What is this coming up here from your inner world that wants to heal? And the universe is trying to get your attention right now. Well, you have somebody that's really been done in by these 9 of Swords. Look at the 9 of Swords right now. I can't make this up. You've got a 9 of Swords we talked about right at the beginning here of being up in your head. Well, what are these swords keeping you up? It's going to explain to you right now. What are these 9 of Swords? This is your inner world. This is your childhood. This is your adolescence right here. And these swords are everything that people told you about yourself. Everything people told you about yourself. Look what it's done to you. It's done you in. These are all the belief systems. Here's you down here, your authentic self. And here's all these swords, these belief systems that people told you about yourself right here. And that's what you believe. Well, look what it's done to you. How exhausting is that? To the point where it's done you in. It's done you in. And here you are right now spinning about all those things that people told you. These are all these swords right here that you're spinning about. The King of Cups comes in, and here we are, another king, your ego self. And so as a child, when you would have been told all of these things and all of these swords, these mental belief systems and patterns that you would have accumulated as a child and an adolescent, well, here's your King of Cups comes in, and you're wondering why you're afraid to go inwards and why you can't go inwards and try to heal this inner child that you have here. Well, here's your ego self coming in when you were younger. And yes, it's a part that's formed. Our ego self comes in when we were younger, because there's just so much pain here that you had as a child of all these swords that were given to you. And so your ego self kicks in for you. It is a part that comes in and kicks in for you and keeps you up in your head, because you can't feel this pain when you're younger. It's too much for you to feel. So you can't stay in your body. So you go up in your head. That's where it's safe. That's where we go. And you stay there until you go back in your body and start to feel these things. And the Ace of Wands comes out. Very interesting here. We need to pay attention to this ace. The Ace of Wands is the wand is all about our purpose, the direction we're supposed to take. So sitting in your shadow here, sitting in your unconscious, in your inner world, is the direction you're meant to go. And the World card here comes out right at the end. So I want to say to you that, before I tell you what the World card means, here you are right here, completely deflated by what people told you. And to end off this row, you have the World card. The World card to me represents freedom, absolute freedom. And so you were very much restricted from taking your life into going into that direction you wanted to go. You were where you were meant to go. And as a child, you would have known that. I mean, instinctively, you would have known. But you didn't have that freedom. It was all blocked. Your freedom as a child was blocked to take your life into that direction. And let's get some more information here. Well, all of these swords, here's this Thief card. Again, we're talking about mental energy with swords. All of these belief systems that people told you about yourself. Well, here's the Thief card, runs away with them. Well, you did. You ran away with them. You had no choice. You're a young child. You're like a sponge, right? So you ran away with all these, and this is how you decided who you were. Well, I don't know who I am. My authenticity is taken from me. My freedom's taken from me. So I'm going to build my, who I am with these swords that people gave me. And so the Two of Pentacles comes in, and the Two of Pentacles is our Juggler card, and in an upright position, like look at the kind of the juggling going on, kind of like a dizziness state, kind of like I like to call it sometimes a dissociative state, where you're just kind of confused and you don't know which way to go. And that's in reverse here, because I mean, your sense of direction of what to do and where to go as a child would have been very much like very ungrounded now, because this is what my cards are showing, not knowing who you are. And the Thief card says, well, I'm going to go on that, what people tell me about myself, because I don't know. The freedom was taken away from you. You didn't have any. And the Four of Swords comes in reverse. Well, the Four of Swords is a card of this mental energy again, of being able to, take some time out for yourself and get some rest, try to figure things out. Well, this is in reverse here. And so at no time as a child, and I'm going to say maybe you didn't get to play much, No, because that would have been, playing would have been an amazing way for you to have a release, right? But you didn't have that freedom as a child, and I'm not sure, this is a general reading, but I'm seeing that you didn't have that rest time as a child. You didn't have that playtime, you know. It was quite, I'm going to say that you might be somebody that probably suffers from, you know, a lot of anxiety, because this anxiety would have come from this stress that you experienced as a child of just not being able to be free to be you. And, you know, interestingly enough, you get the Ace of Pentacles that comes up again here. Here's, you know, being in your body. Here's the gift of being in your body as a child. But behind it, you know, I think what's happening, because I can see what's coming here. So the pentacle itself talks about being in the body, but the pentacle itself talks about our self-worth, our worthiness. And this is what this is talking about in the last line to explain here. To explain here what's going on. We're talking about you going back in your body and, you know, getting in touch with your inner child and feeling some of this pain that your inner child is. Well, you know, this inner child that we talked about back here, he holds your sense of self-worth. And the Five of Cups card comes up next, and that's the key card here that explained to me about what this pentacle meant here and what we're talking about here. The Five of Cups is someone that is really focused on those 3 spilled cups. This is your inner world here. So as a child, your focus became on these 3 spilled cups. You weren't able to see these other 2 cups. I'm going to say it again. You were not able to. A child, an adolescent at the time, would not have been able to see those other 2 cups here on the other side. So you gave up. You gave up. You felt like you didn't matter. You felt like, you know, you felt like a piece of shit. You felt unworthy. There wasn't anybody here, especially because of these things that people told you about yourself. You don't even know who you are. You didn't, as a child, you didn't get a chance to find out who you were. And this Empire card comes out as the last card here in your inner world. This Emperor, I'm going to tell you one word about him. He likes to control. He likes to be in charge. He likes to make the rules. And so I'm seeing here that you were very much in a controlling environment, and you knew what you were allowed to do and not allowed to do, right? And you followed the rules. You followed the rules because there was no way that you were going to, you know, go out of this box that you were put in. You didn't have the freedom, right? And so it's very difficult now for you to, when you have been someone that was raised with all of this control and living in your head, not being allowed to go back into your body and to feel these big emotions that were coming up for you, these big emotions of not feeling worthy. And so you continue to live up in your head, but you know, I can't forget this inner child right here that needs help with their unworthiness. And you're the only one that can do this for them. And so what's the message here that comes out of this? Well, here's the Chariot card. Here's the card about movement. What does the universe want you to do? What's the most important? What's the key message here? The Chariot card talks about movement, but not the kind of movement you think. This Chariot can't move. I mean, look at these 2 sphinxes. They're faced in 2 different directions. They're not even looking. And they're solid. They're made of probably stone here, right? And so is the charioteer. He's becoming part of his chariot. He's been staying there for so long. And guess how he's been like directing his chariot? He's been using his willpower. His willpower alone. His control. And so I see it was somebody that's just very much up in their head and trying to control everything. Very, very exhausting, like I said, because that's what you learned as a child, to try to control your environment because you were controlled by someone else. And now as an adult, you're doing this, you're trying to control this. You're trying to keep this all up in your head. The universe says, no, it's time for movement. But this isn't going to be physical movement. This is going to be inward movement. This is going to be back in your body. And they're even bringing in a Tower card here. But it's not a full Tower card because it's not in an upright position. But it's kind of like this last red flag. It's a bigger red flag. It's the last red flag for you. And it's saying, listen, it's time for you to get back into your body. It is time for you to feel this unworthiness once and for all. Because this is the unworthiness of your inner child that needs to be felt. And it is time. And this is the Tower card that will come out before the upright Tower card. Because there's a new direction for you. This is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands, the Wands is our purpose. The Wands is where the universe wants to take you into a new direction. There is something here for you. There is something here for you. And you have it in your inner world. It's the Ace of Wands. I told you that there was a direction here for you. And here it is. The universe wants to take you into a different direction, but it's up to you to go inwards and heal this, start to heal this unworthiness, this shame. Start to heal it. And then you're going to be going into a different direction. And we often have to do that. Before we can do anything new for ourselves or creative, we have to heal what's coming up. How are you going to begin to do this? Well, the first card that comes out is this Victory card, right? Here's this Victory card. It's a number 6, and sixes have a duality in my deck. And in this particular case, this is the duality of what looks like winning on the outside. You know, you got the victory wreath going on, coming home from camp. From a battle, and he looks like he's got a victory going on, but you know, this is a duality card, so we got to look at what's the opposite of winning here. Well, if you pull that green blanket away, you have losing, you have loss, you have grief, what you lost. And that's in resistance here. The universe wants you to turn that around because right now there's a great fear, resistance, because your ego self is out. He doesn't want to go near this emotion, this big emotion of unworthiness, of shame that you need to get to, that your inner child wants you to grieve for them because they couldn't do it when they were younger. Tower card. Wow. The Tower card. It's almost like it's saying, you know what? When you go inwards, which is what you need to do, when you grieve, and I don't know if you've ever grieved before, it almost sounds like you're laughing. It's not crying. It's like this heavy, heavy washing that comes over you, and it sounds like you're, like I said, you're laughing and you're just letting yourself go and grieve like you've never grieved before, of this child that was held, that was controlled, that wasn't allowed to get to know themselves, that feels so unworthy and feels like they don't matter. Well, your life is going to change. That is going to be the most significant Tower moment for you that's going to come up right here. It's going to open up, transform your life in ways that you don't even know. And that's what grief is. It is a very transforming emotion. It's like the last final emotion that you need to get to. You are going to start to work on your shame. I'm going to give you a playlist on that. And once you start to get in touch with that shame and start to process that shame, your final emotion that you're going to get to is that grief of the child that's buried behind the shame. And the Moon card comes out here to say that, you know, there are things that are hidden here. And I think it's talking about, the grief that's underneath that blanket. That's what's hidden here. And the last card that comes out is the Six of Swords. And look at this person on this eagle taking them somewhere, taking them to a place of safety. And the universe threw that in at the end and says, you know, you need to get safe here. You got some big emotions. this is huge. This is a tower moment for you in your life, but you've got to be in a really safe place so that you can do this, which means that if there are people around you or things around you that are not safe for you and you know who they are, unfortunately, sometimes they need to leave our life. I mean, there isn't a card, that walking away card here, but when it talks about safety, you need safety because your child, in order for your child to come out and really trust you again, you need to be in a safe place. All right, so amazing, amazing reading for you, Leo, today. I'm going to leave you with the playlist on shame because that is what you need to work on, shame. And I'm also going to leave you with a really good video on how to continue to work on all of this stuff right here, their inner world and killing your inner world. It's a video on shadow work and facing your shadow. All right, take care, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, Leo.